Okay, we just walked out of Portrait of a Lady on Fire,
Yeah.
and it was so good.
It was really good. I'm a little nervous to talk about it because I might get him. I feel like I'm still processing it. It made me cry a lot.
I feel like I'm sitting like this, like in the movie. So real quick, I give it like a 9 out of 10. I think. Would you give it more?
No,
I was gonna give it an 8 out of 10 until the ending.
Yeah, me too.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
The whole time I was thinking this would be a 9 or a 10 if it had really good music. But it was so worth it to not have music the whole time for that ending scene.
Yeah, wasn't that crazy that they didn't have music? Okay, well now we're doing spoilers.
Yeah,
so real quick, it's a 9 out of 10 for me. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah,
it's a foreign language. Yeah, you call it indie film, right? It's independent, I think.
Yeah.
It's not major studio, so it's slower paced, but it's a love story, and it's so good.
So good.
So we recommend it. From now on, there's spoilers.
Yeah.
Let me make sure it's still recording.
Yeah. We're good.
Yeah, I haven't seen. I don't remember the last time I saw a love story that was like an actual love story. That wasn't like some forced romance within like an actual movie. So you're like, okay, there's the romance. Like, yeah, it was genuinely along with the journey. And it wasn't that like, even though it was so different from the movies we see now, it wasn't that like crazy out of place of a movie. Like the structure was actually, it was very well classically structured.
Yeah, it was like very.
And like right when because I didn't even realize. It was so strange at the beginning. I didn't realize that we were just developing her ordinary world.
Yeah.
So when the inciting incident came in, like the catalyst for say like, you need to paint this girl that doesn't want to be painted. That's when I was like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
You know? And
I know they jumped into it so well. Like, and there was no like shitty exposition or anything at any point. Like there were times when I was like a little confused because I was like, "Is this happening?" And then like the story just moved on, and I was like, "Yeah, that happened. Cool."
I wanted to talk about that. That was crazy how they every scene, like, you know, they say in screenwriting to enter a scene late and leave early. They did that like nonstop so well in this movie that it made this sort of slow paced thing constantly intriguing because I was like, well, where are we? Over there? Oh, that happened? That, you know, like, and then I was asking the question again, like, where are we? But you weren't like, whoa, where am I the whole time? You know,
lost. You were just in it.
Yeah,
so
you were just
like
in
instantly.
It. That was crazy. Yeah, I was so excited to talk to you about the fact that there was no music.
I know.
And how much better the sound was in this movie.
Oh my god.
I almost want to say the use of music was so much better in this movie. You know, like the number of music was so much better than. It just made me listen and wait, and the sound of the waves when they brought that in, when she would scrape on the painting, like I just felt it.
Oh, it was so good.
Dude, the textures in this movie were insane. There were some times where they would just like sit down at the table and they would set like glass on wood or wood on wood, and then like the candles lit like on wood and carrying them around and scratching on the real paper.
Yeah.
It brought me to this. I'm gonna have such a hard time articulating this movie, but it brought me to just like, I don't know. Our generation is so much different with how like unromanticized everything's becoming. That this like heightened romance for me, for like things being so temporary and impermanent. You know, everything was just so organically like felt and textured. I just loved it.
There were some points where like the painting would take up the whole screen. And it was like she was like painting on the screen. Like we were watching her painting, and it was just like the sound was so good that I was just like, oh my god, I feel like I'm watching this like be created like physically in front of me. It was so cool. I'd never like seen painting like that before. Like I've seen painting like take up a whole screen, but the sound was so different.
It felt different.
It was so good.
Yeah, and because it was so attached to the love story too, like it really felt like she was printing down into this world like what wasn't there before. Remember what did they say?
It was a bee.
Remember what they said about do people in love feel like they're inventing? Remember that?
Oh,
like,
that's such a good
that so I don't know, is part of like when she was painting too, like she was like in creation as she did it. And because there's no pictures, there's no other way to do this. This love was just going to be lost in the nebula of, you know, existence. And so every time she was like putting stuff down and putting her emotions onto it, I felt like it was really like she was printing it onto this world, and it was gonna be lost otherwise.
I know.
So that when the things happened, like when she scratched the face off,
I know.
you know, when those things happened, they like mattered a lot because she was like erasing what was or what could have been and like changing destiny a little bit.
That felt like more violent than like the extreme gruesome violence in like horror movies and stuff.
It did.
Like, I was like, oh my god,
like,
I like didn't want to see it, and then they showed it, and you're like, oh no, like it was so gruesome, and it was so like, oh, it just made you feel so.
I feel like such a like a
squelchy feeling texture. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah, it was so good.
And that last shot of her made me cry so much.
That was crazy.
I was feeling it with her so much.
That was crazy.
Was such a good.
And it's the same song she played, right?
Yeah, I think
right?
So.
And the parts like she couldn't remember.
Yeah.
That was so good, dude. That I freaked out when she held the thing in the thing.
That was so.
Stuff doesn't happen in movies, man. Like to come up with something we didn't expect that totally relates to everything in the movie and like.
Yeah, that was I was so almost good. Like, because that was such an impactful moment, like seeing, because, well, there was a part where she like, we don't have to explain it, but when she was holding the 28 up, like that was so impactful for me. I was like, I can't believe they're giving us another scene. Like I just wanted it to end right there.
I know.
And then I was so glad that they just like let it end on her face like that.
Me too.
So good.
I know. God, this movie is like a lesson in like what we go to movies for with like the close-ups and everything. And Jesus Christ, I mean, casting was a 100 out of 10. Like their faces so and the brunette. I've never seen her before. I've seen the blonde before in something.
She seemed more familiar.
But the brunette was so like I was just entranced. Like every time it would cut to her face, like she's so amazing to look at. Her performance was outstanding.
Acting was so good.
She was like one of the most beautiful people I've ever seen. Like the whoever cast it like knew like, yep, that's it. That's the one.
Yeah.
You know.
And every time, because they would do the shots of her like looking up and looking at her, and she did that a lot.
So good.
Every time, I loved that so much. I could watch that like all day. It was so good.
I know, it's especially with what we're writing right now. It's so hard to fit things into like good dialogue and like character moving through a story when you have like all these sequence of events happening too, all within like 120 pages, and they just actually fit a love story in there. Like I felt it. Even the beginning was like I was laughing at the way they looked at each other, you know? Because she's also like has a secret, you know, she's got a painter.
Yeah.
And I was like just like laughing throughout the beginning, like falling into it in the midpoint, and then like enjoying it at the end and feeling so sad about it. And I was just genuinely like on this journey. And I thought something like it was around the time where the two of them went out with the third girl that was getting the abortion. And it was before that scene, but it was when they were all like out together. I can't remember which part, like on the beach. It was before that.
Oh, when they were like looking for the weeds and stuff?
Yeah, I think it was that. I was like, God, they like, this felt like Kingdom Hearts-ish to me. Like this companion, like to find like new friends and companionship, and to so early me feel like, oh, these are like, are people, you know, even though like they just all met each other and became friends, and they're all looking out for each other, and they're like out on this quest of life. I just remember seeing that shot and just being like, man, I'm so here with them right now. I like root for them. I can't wait to see where they go. And
I think it's interesting because there's a lot of like shows and movies trying to portray like womanhood right now, and like being very like, this is what women are about. And sometimes it just feels so forced and so fake and so like.
I'm glad you said that.
Like for money, I don't know how else to describe it. It's just very like corporate. Like this is what's popular right now, so this is what we're gonna do. This didn't feel like that at all. It was just so real and so genuine, and like like they included that whole abortion scene. It was so like graphic and intense and sad, but it wasn't like, well, of course they had to include this. You know what I mean? Like it was just this was part of the story. You know?
It was. The only part that was honestly like kind of what started to bring it down from a 10 for me was like the kids on the bed. There were certain things like that in the movie where they felt forced. I was like, it felt unreal, and that they were forcing emotion, not related to like what you just said about our culture today, but just as a scene where they wanted to over dramatize it, so they put kids on the bed, and I was like, that's not unbelievable. Careful, there's a bee near your head.
I know. I guess I thought about that, but then there was so much of it that felt like, because it was like a period piece, like because they were in a time that I didn't like totally understand. I think I kind of chalked it up to that, where I was like, maybe there just literally is no other place for the kids to be right now. Yeah.
I could chalk it up to that too.
Yeah.
I remember when it happening, I fell out of it and thought that's forced drama, and I thought there were like a couple of other moments like that, but for the most part, it was incredible how they were able to they looked like they were kind of posing with the background a little bit, which was, I don't know, I felt it like with the whole style of painting within the film itself, so I didn't really mind it, but the performances were so good that it felt like they were doing this naturally. Yeah. So when she first like ran up to the cliff, that was so powerful. Dude, I just love when she went downstairs and she was just facing away. Like, it was so dramatized. It was so good. I love that. It was so good. Honestly, I loved like the opening, not of her teaching it. I mean, I think that was a good frame of the movie, her teaching the girls how to paint herself. I thought that was a fun way to open it. But her like on the boat, I was just instantly super into it. Yeah. And they didn't have any explanation for anything, and she just like dove in the water. Dude. And I was like, okay, we're in it. Like she's diving in the water. Well, it was the painting. I knew it was her dedication to her art. Yeah. But like they didn't have to say that, you know? Like I was just instantly a part of it. Like they didn't have to tell me why it was important. They just didn't do any of that cheesy exposition like you've been invited to blah 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 blah. You're on the boat, you're going there, and you just start to figure it out, and it wasn't even like that complicated. Like she had been called there to paint a girl and won't be painted. She's commissioned to stay there for 5 days. What a fun story, by the way. You know what, like a fun story. Yeah. Oh, it was so good. I wish I had more time to think about it. It's hard to do initial reactions. No. Because her character, Tool, as a painter, like as an artist, and how that, I don't know, how connected that was to her falling in love, so it could bring out these moments of dialogue, like when she talked about her emotions or the way she looks. Oh, no, it was when she was saying, I can't get you to smile. Like all those things, she can be talking about her craft and her tools, but they're also talking to each other about each other. Yeah. Like that was that was such an incredible idea. Yeah. We're in downtown Hillcrest, so it's gonna get a little crazy. I think they're gonna pass. They'll pass. Yeah. But do you know what I mean? No. Yeah. Give it a sec. Okay. Yeah. The content of the story, well, there was just so many layers that overlapped in such a successful way. You know, like you had like this kind of theme of womanhood that like obviously like was related to their love, women, and then like the painting and like bringing her to life and like having to know her so well and like falling in love with her that way, like all of it was just so successful. Like every layer of like what the plot of the story was, and then like what actually ended up happening, and then I just all of it was so good. And they all added to each other. And then like because they're women, they like don't have the power to like listen to music or whatever, and then that was something that like she could bring to her a little bit, and then at the end it was this moment. It was all amazing. That was super cool. Movies try and get to these moments so much that they just got to so well without it being forced. Like when I forget all their names, but when she scrapes her face, so the mom is pissed because she commissioned her to do the painting, and she's like, "You're going home." Yeah. You know? And then she says, "No, I'll pose if you let her stay." It's a way to like to get to that moment at the like the midpoint where it's like you've reached like the climax that's going to send us into the next part. So this character is now going to get taken away, and there's nothing she can do, but there's an actual tool that the other character had to use to keep her to stay. So it's like character choices are influencing the story, but it wasn't a tool that she's had the whole time that she should have been using the whole time, which is what every other movie does. It's like the writers just waited till that moment because that's the moment when this happens. But it made sense that her love needed to grow for her, and then for her to trust, and then she needed to scrape it off for her to trust her to paint like reality. Like she was like, this
Yeah.
isn't truth. This is you bullshitting.
Yeah.
And so in order to like prove that to her, she had to do that. Even though it came from a place of truth for herself. She wasn't doing it just to like get her love.
Yeah.
She was doing it because she felt it.
Yeah.
And then they actually fell in love like realistically. But anyway, it gave the blonde like that moment to be like, okay, now I trust her, and now I have a tool to like help her to stay, and I want her to stay because I'm falling in love with her.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh.
And then you like the mom's decision at that point like completely makes sense. It wouldn't just be like, well, I guess you can stay. It's like it's not forced. It's like, well, no, she's actually said she'll pose. She wants her to stay now, even though she's pissed that she just ruined the painting.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's so simple too. Like it's just such a.
No.
It seems so real and easy. You know, like
those moments happen in every movie, but they're always forced, and there's always bullshit that the writers came up with to get to these points. But these were like real character choices, and it made sense, and there's just so much growth throughout the story. God, that's the best movie of the year so far.
So far, for sure.
It's February.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Man, I can't believe we didn't almost go see that.
I know, we were almost like, oh, it's early.
Well, oh my god, they never showed the painting at the end. They showed it at the beginning.
I know, I thought that too.
But you remember it, right? She's facing away, she's on fire.
Yeah.
Whoa, I just realized that.
I know.
I remembered it at the beginning, and I remember thinking, like, why'd they show it at the beginning? Now I know what the portrait of the lady on fire
I know,
is. But now it's even...
You don't need it at the end.
You don't.
Yeah, it was so good. There's just so much intention and, like, care behind it.
Yeah, and I don't know if we'll see like a love story with that much care put into it anymore.
I know.
They just put like a guy and a girl together, and they're just like, yeah, they're in love. And even when they're gay relationships now, they're like, okay, we got like, you know, one gay couple, and they just like, oh, they're just in love. You know, they don't. Yeah. They just put two people together, and we expect them to fall in love. And honestly, a lot of times, just like we get it. We're like, yeah, people fall in love, like you know. But this was like, I was just in it. I was feeling it with them, falling in love at the same time. You know, it was so good.
Yeah. Favorite moment?
Yeah.
Do you have time?
Yeah, it's good. 17 minutes in. We should, let's do... Honestly, I don't know about favorite moment exactly off the top of my head, but my favorite part was the incredible casting and the close-ups back and forth between these two individuals that I really felt like... I don't know, I felt genuine, like, I felt like a human being that falls in love. I felt like I was in bed staring at another person. I just felt, I don't know, I felt reality in that.
Yeah, I liked when they were talking about, like, what they were going to remember.
Hey, man, dude, there were so many good moments. I don't have a favorite part.
But I think that was, like, my favorite.
That was probably the best. And the way they, like got excited about each other. I was like, yeah, this is real. This is like you get excited about what the things you love about each other are, like the things you don't expect, like surprising each other. Yeah, that was one of the best moments. I loved the no music. I loved the sound so much. The sound was a 10. Casting was a 10. Cinematography, the shots were beautiful. The production design, the fucking the costumes and the textures of all the production design. I loved it. When she got out the cheese and bread at the end, and she was like, "Do you have wine?" I was like, "Fuck, I miss Europe." You know, I want to go back to Switzerland.
It was so funny. It was so fun to watch.
Yeah. I guess we could do like read the bad reviews, but we're 19 minutes in. Maybe we should just get going. Yeah. Honestly, anybody who says this movie's shit is an idiot anyway.
Oh my god.
They're dumb. And anybody who says this movie's great is correct, and that's the right opinion.
Yeah, I think maybe pacing was the only thing that keeps it a 10 for me. It's
pacing?
Yeah, like it just could have. There was something.
When pacing's a 10, you feel it.
Yeah, and I just didn't. Yeah. I don't know why. I just didn't.
Yeah, it wasn't quite just like the perfect movie.
Yeah,
like,
but it was so
close. Being a perfect movie is different. For some reason, it has to. Like, for me, I have to feel like this movie is flawless. Like, that's how good this is. Like, something about 1917 just felt like this is the movie that we want to be 10s. Like, it's just something that's flawless.
Parasite, too, had that for me.
Parasite was, I would have probably said a 9.
No, I think Parasite's a 10.
It might have been a 10, though.
Yeah.
But honestly, I don't even feel like it's right to give something like a 9 out of 10 like this. Because it's great. It's just everything it should be. Yeah. It's everything it should be. Yeah. And I'm so glad I saw it.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm so glad it exists.
I know.
And I can't believe, I just can't believe how good it was.
I know.
So I guess we'll just say to anybody watching on YouTube, I want to start doing that more at the end, like read some of the bad reviews. I wanna keep doing this though, where we review the movies like immediately after. I like initial reactions more than like sitting down at home at a desk like talking about it.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can get. I don't know. We got to figure out the times more too. If it becomes up being an exact 25 minutes before it cuts it off, maybe at the 20 minutes we can read like other people's reviews. And and also leave comments about what you thought about the movie and other movies we should see, because we almost didn't go see this. So if there's indie movies out that are great, tell us about it. We don't go see more fantasy islands and crappy movies.
Yeah.
We want to see more movies like this, and leave your reviews too.
Yeah.
Because we want that more.
Yeah.
Yeah. But right now we're on our way to go see the next movie Hope doesn't know about. So we gotta go. But thanks everyone.
Thanks.
Go see it if you haven't seen it. Oh wait, hopefully you're not sticking around for all the spoiler alert. Yeah.
No. Bye.
Anyway, bye.